Joe Rogan has shook the gaming world as if he was Atlas. You know how Atlas holds the world on his shoulders? Joe Rogan was Atlas, and the world was video games. And he said, and he did a super suplex, flipping sidekick, and smashed it. Because he does MMA. Mm-hmm. Anyway, here's what he said. This was like a big debate on Twitter. And I'll show you the clip, and then we will discuss.
Seek refuge in drugs or video games or something that stimulates them. And video games are a real problem. They're a real problem. You know why? Because they're fucking fun.
Addictive.
And you don't, yeah, well, I have a real problem with them. And you do them and they're real exciting, but you don't get anywhere.
Right.
It's like you could do like martial arts, right? You could learn jujitsu. You get obsessed by jujitsu, and then 3 years later, you're like an elite jujitsu athlete. You're entering in competitions. You're a purple belt.
You're moving up.
Yeah, you're doing well. Right. You're thinking like, I might be able to open my own school one day.
You got confidence.
Yeah, if I have 100 students and those 100 students are paying me X amount of dollars per month, I can make a living. Holy shit, I can have this would be amazing. And then you see your jujitsu school, and your jujitsu instructor has all these students and drives a Mercedes, and he's got a nice family, and like, that's the future. This way you're doing something exciting and fun, and you don't. Or you could just be playing fucking video games. 3 years later, you could be that same kid just playing video games, waiting for the next whatever the fuck game is, next Xbox game to come out.
Don't you think there's just as many people who are 3 years later just doing jujitsu?
Yeah.
There's probably way more opportunities for a career in gaming than jujitsu.
That's why the whole argument that he's making didn't make any sense to me. But I think he's probably just not really aware of the scene of streamers and
the gaming,
the amount of money that they can make.
The gaming renaissance. There's kind of been a gaming renaissance in the past 5 years where actually it seems like if you are really good at a game, like unusually good at a game, you can almost certainly make a living doing it now if you just stream, because enough people are going to want to watch you play. You're going to make a living from it. Probably
and then
more
even
than
the whole ecosystem around it of YouTube channels about pro gaming and the commentary and all of that. I mean, there's a lot of money in it.
I love in his analogy that being a Taekwondo teacher is like the pinnacle of success.
I mean, how often does that happen?
How many successful Taekwondo teachers are there in the country? Like I don't know, 1,000? I mean, I don't know. Maybe more, but I mean, it seems like such a niche job. But, I do feel like video gamers get more shit than people with other hobbies, for example. That it's like a generational bias. I mean, look, it's the same thing. It's like we all got hobbies. We're all going to fucking die. What does it matter in the end? You know what I mean? It's like, dude, you did Taekwondo. I played video games for 3. I mean, who fucking cares ultimately?
I think it's just the lack of physical movement.
Well, that I agree with.
And being like physically in the same room with other people or physically engaged in anything. I think that's what is their problem.
I think that's very important.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think, well, if you're going to spend 3 years doing Taekwondo or video games, obviously, if it was up to me, which one I enjoyed more, I wish I would be doing Taekwondo because you'd be jacked. You'll be able to beat up bullies. And yeah, that'd be way better for you, probably mentally, physically, and everything. But
I mean, mentally, I don't know. Seems like video games do.
I mean, like confidence-wise.
Okay. Because video games do require a lot of focus.
That's why I feel like
brain power.
Separately, if you look at video games, gamers catch so much shit. There's such a stigma against being a video gamer. Like, just take when I was a kid. I would sit at home and play EverQuest. I was fucking just so into EverQuest as a kid. But every time I was playing that game, my dad was on his ass watching sports. And somehow what I was doing was wrong, and what he was doing was fine. Because if you're a sports fan, you're just a good old American. It's the national pastime. But if you're playing video games, you're a degenerate.
No, it's because they have this ideal in their head of what activities should be like. They remember themselves playing outside with a ball in the sun.
A ball.
Versus you sitting in a dark room.
Yeah, it doesn't look good.
It looks depressing.
But ultimately, he's right. I mean, it is a waste of time. But, living is kind of just a waste of time, ultimately.
What isn't?
Yeah. I mean, just existing is kind of a waste of time.
We have 2 employees that have kids, and I've heard both of them say that they're worried because their kids just want to play video games all day.
Yeah.
It's a thing that I see a lot.
Yeah, I wonder what to do about that, though. I mean, it is a problem. But, like, if you go back 50 years, I mean, I'm sure there was something else like, oh, I'm so worried. I swear to God, people used to say, oh, I'm worried my kid just reads all day.
Well, I mean, I feel like I would understand the first generation of parents having to go through this and being worried, like your parents, let's say.
Yeah.
But you turned out all right. So I think at this point, we don't need to worry about it.
Well, if Theodore's in his room 12 hours a day playing video games, I mean, I would be worried. Sure, I would be worried. I would be wanting to, like, what I think you need to do is start playing the game with him. You understand it. And then once he sees that you like it, then he hates it.
That's not cool anymore.
Yeah, then it's not cool. You have to hijack all of their hobbies so it becomes uncool. And then when he picks up a hobby that you like, then you're like, oh, I don't get that. That hobby is just weird to me. I think that's the thing. I think you as a parent should try to understand what it is they're doing and do it with them. But people always say, oh, video games is antisocial. Well, that's not really true, is it?
That's not true.
And then, like, if you compare video games to, like, sports, video games are very active. You're reading, you're walking through a 3D landscape, which to say is good for your brain. There's stuff that it's way more engaging.
I mean, I think the main problem is that people need to get more physical activity.
Right.
In their daily routine.
That I will not debate.
And especially, I can tell, like, when I was living in Israel, you have a lot of walking involved in your day. Just going to do random things. Usually, there's a lot more things that are walkable. I don't know if it's...
Well, you're talking about LA, I think.
I don't know what it's like in other places, other states.
Well, New York, you live there.
Yeah, but New York is very unique.
I think it just depends if you're in the city or it really depends.
I can tell in LA, you really need to make an effort, a conscious decision of going out and getting some physical movement.
Yes.
Otherwise, it just doesn't happen.
Your body just what's it called? Atrophies. Atrophies. I atrophy away. No, but I mean, yeah. He's right, actually. I'm not even going to dispute him. It is a waste of time. But I guess what I would counter is literally everything is a waste of time, Mr. Joe Rogan. And I will further say, yeah, you can be addicted to anything. I mean, really. You could take anything too far.
I think the way he phrased it made a lot of people miss some context, too, because he says... He talks about video games. He says, I got a real problem with video games.
Right.
He was actually talking about himself. He was a video game addict. And
right.
But if you didn't know that, it just sounds like he's got a real problem with video games.
Look how it cups his head, though. The thing. But why? I just don't know why you can't just enjoy it like anything. I mean, the guy's obviously balanced his life.
I think he's just said that once he gets into it,
well, for him, it's a waste of time because video games is not his profession. So anytime that he's spending on video game, he could be writing material for stand-up.
I think people, right, and I think people who feel that probably...
The same apply for me. I would never get into a video game right now. I have a million other things I'd rather do.
There you go. So don't play video games.
For me, it is a waste of time.
So don't pick it up. Don't play it, but don't judge people who ain't got shit to do in their life. You know that joke? They go... I think it was a Cat Williams joke. He's talking about smoking weed. He goes, if you're broke and you ain't got no job, I don't know why you're not smoking weed. Obviously, I don't smoke weed, and but the point is, like, hey, if that's what you got, then lean on it, baby. Go to town. You know what I'm saying? Get that Paragon 1500 and Diablo. So ultimately, what did Joe say? Was it super offensive? No. Was it interesting? No. Was anything really, should this clip even really have been a point of contention at all? Probably not. Anything to add, Hila?
Probably not.
The biggest take though is that dome, dude. Look at that. Look how it
I really
fits.
don't get what you're saying. Like,
What? How do you not see? That's funny. That's got to be my new desktop.
It's just a soft material, so of course.
But isn't it funny how they're made with like 2 cushions here, and then like because he has no hair, it's so perfect. I don't know why you don't find that funny.
He
looks like a Star Wars droid.
It doesn't do anything to me.
Dude, that's my new desktop forever.